The big game's finally over, ladies and gentlemen, and with that, strange things are afoot. The nerds are here to talk about Doctor Strange and its trailer, and we're also going to be talking about and breaking down the importance of Peacemaker in the DCEU. Bryan, hit that intro. Coming to you from 12920 Philadelphia Street, Whittier, California, in the heart of Uptown Whittier. Keeping Up with the Nerds presents issue number 86. My name is Bryan.
And
Rene.
And welcome to the show. Woo!
Hey!
I could do it without the script.
Where'd you post it?
Nowhere. It's all
Is it up on the
here.
wall?
It's tattooed in his eyelids.
Tattooed in his
Yeah.
eyelids. It goes, it's actually in his glasses right here.
As soon as I close my eyes.
I want to immediately like go to like in Family Guy, just immediately that moment.
Listen, it took a lot of tests to get here.
Welcome back, guys.
It's blind for a week. Hey, what's up?
Yeah, it's been. Why is it this time? It feels like it's been a while.
Been a while.
I was talking to Nick about this, and this was possibly a week where we didn't really communicate thoroughly.
No,
week.
there was a lot of stuff that was going on. I think for me, like personal stuff, there was just a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Yeah, because you usually message us at least like 3 times a week.
yeah, so it was a busy week for me.
He's usually the naggy girlfriend that we're like.
Yeah, he's constantly keeping tabs on us and stuff like.
Sorry.
I'm trying to play Call of Duty right now. Can you leave me alone? God. Jesus. What do you mean my KD's under a 1.0? I get that, okay?
Is your KD actually under a 1.0?
No, it's not.
It's like, oh, my bad. Sorry.
Yeah. But if yours is, you should probably stop playing.
No, it's not. Trust me.
Okay, I trust you.
All right. Why are you quiet about it?
I'm not saying anything. Why are you getting so judgmental?
I'm not judgmental.
I see the judgment.
I have no judgment. I have no energy for judgment.
But are you okay though, since you're weak though?
Oh, yeah.
overall?
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. It's just a kind of like little bit of a kind of like summary of what happened. Basically, my mom had to put my dog, or my mom and the family basically put my dog down. The dog that I've had since probably high school.
Yeah.
I would say she was a good pup. And it was just kind of weird because they gave me the news after we finished recording last week. Yeah, so that was hard. We went to go see her afterwards, and then it wasn't until Wednesday that I had to put her down. So
Oh, really?
yeah, so they
I thought
gave
were
me
going the next day.
Yeah.
I thought so too, but they just like dropped the news on me, and like it was kind of like a roller coaster of emotions throughout the whole week. So I think for me that's why. And I know Sunday was the big game as well.
Yeah.
So quick question.
Uh-huh.
Are you guys going to do anything fun with the ashes?
No. What? What are you fun with the ashes? Like,
I mean,
what?
honestly, no. But like the thing is that you can get. So this is what
You
Mandy
can-
wants to do.
Oh.
Because you can do that now.
Yeah.
You can
I
get
see what you mean.
You can get like something done or
You can get
embroidered and
done.
something. Yeah.
Like you can have them like put in like you can have them put in like a bottle rocket and like shoot them over the ocean, or you can throw them in the mailman's face if you really didn't like the mailman. Just like, oh, my dog hated you, and then you throw it in his head.
No.
He's dancing in heaven now.
So my first dog was Tango. He passed away years ago. His ashes are in a wooden chest. And then Sasha, who was my Yorkie that passed away, I think like 2 years after my dad passed away. So like 4 years ago, she got, I think, a vase, and she got a plaster of her paw right before they put her down.
Aww.
So I don't know what they're gonna do with Samba.
Why does it sound like dogs don't last long with you?
They've lasted long.
Like it's very dangerous to be.
That was a long list of dogs.
That was-
you were like,
Dango,
that's a couple
he
dogs.
passed away when he was like 12, and he had a big infection that the place that we adopted him from didn't like take care of well enough. So he was 12 when he passed away. Sasha was also 12, and Samba was, I think, maybe 13. So yeah, they live their life.
Okay.
Yeah, we take care of them.
I don't think I've until I've been dating Mandy. I've never had a dog. I've had cats,
Uh huh.
but I've never had a dog until Mandy got a dog.
I've always adopted my friends' dogs.
Keep going.
Professional as hell. I've always adopted my
that sounded as soon as you said that. I always adopt my friend's dogs.
I've obviously unlocked the secret of dog owning.
Yeah.
Is
Just
you
get your
adopt
friend's
you
dogs.
adopt a friend's dog.
Yeah.
Because then it's not your responsibility. You hang out with him for an hour or so, and then that's it. No, yeah, I used to have this one friend. He had a dog named JoJo. His name was Jordan.
Oh.
So he was a real dumb dog. Great. Okay. You know those. So the story with that dog is they had another dog, and that dog just showed up one day.
Okay.
Like the dog jumped the fence, and he never left.
I like it here.
Yeah.
I will mark this place as mine.
No, he had like no collar. He had nothing else, and he just jumped the fence, and he just never left. Like that was like he just became part of the family. Like they were trying to get rid of him like all the time. Like they were always like, "Go home, like go to your family." And, like,
this is my home.
Yeah, and he was just like, "I don't know what you're talking."
Look at me.
Apparently,
This is my home now.
So they know that he does. This is how he got the name George. Jojo was because he left one day and they were like, oh, I guess like he finally went home. He did go home because he came back with a bowl that said JoJo on it.
That's funny.
So he carried the bowl from his
went
original
to his home, got the bowl, and went peace and left.
I'm here to pick up my stuff.
Yeah. Mom, I'm moving out.
Awesome.
I made my own family. Yeah, so apparently that dog showed up one day with his bowl, and they were just like, I guess his name's JoJo. Like, That's funny. I guess his name Jordan. Mm-hmm. And so they called him JoJo and everything else, and he ended up passing away a couple years ago. But I used to always think it was so funny because every single time I would go over, he would immediately run to the gate, bark twice, stop, and then go, never mind, it's Nick. All right. Come on.
That's
yeah,
great.
You cool. And then it was funny because he was my buddy's dog. But when I would come in, I would sit on like the couch. My buddy would sit over on the armchair. I would sit at the couch. He would sit at my feet. Mm-hmm. And he wouldn't sit at the other guy at my friend's feet. And he was just like, dude, just take the dog. Like, I don't want him. Like, you take the dog. I was like, I can't have a dog and everything else. So I would go over there all the time and I was always hang out with the dog. So when he passed away, I, did the same thing and everything else. But yeah, so
that reminds me of like how Cece treats Mandy and I just completely
as puppies.
Separately. No, no, because Cece only listens or like it's weird because so right before like this will be like around 9:00 and then she'll be in the backyard just doing whatever she wants to do, right? Then it's like okay, it's time to go to bed. I told Mandy like let's bring in Cece now, and then for like 20 minutes. It's just Mandy just yelling at Cece, come in, come on, come in. And she's like, I'm done. Like, she can stay out there. I go out there, Cece, come in. And she just comes right in and stuff like that.
Remember, the dogs also can sense who the alpha is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they'll follow the alpha. The betas, they don't give, they couldn't care.
Yeah.
No, I told that to my buddy, too, because my buddy was like, why? Because both dogs would always, like, listen to me whenever I would say anything. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I don't get it. Like, when I'm here, my dogs listen to me all the time.
Yeah.
When you come over, my dogs do not listen to me at all.
Yes.
And they will only listen to you. And I'm like, it's because I'm the alpha. I walk into your house and I then take over the house. It's my house now.
That's true because Joey's the same way. Like with Andy, it's just playtime 24/7.
Yeah.
But with me, it's like discipline. Like, okay, I have to like sit a certain way, be at a certain
He
place.
doesn't listen to you. You're not the alpha in that house.
Not when you guys are around. Because
that dog is the alpha.
No, he is the alpha. He is the
runs
alpha.
that
But the funny
house.
thing is that when he has people over, or when we have people over, he takes advantage of that.
No, yeah.
Where it's like,
distracted.
yeah, he's just
Weak.
like,
Weak.
yeah, he's like, oh, they're distracted. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
He does it. But when it's like me and Joey, he's like, okay, I know not to mess with them. I know not to be here. I know not to do this and all that other stuff.
I'm gonna pee on his bag.
He's tried. No, he doesn't. You know what's the funny thing? He doesn't pee on my stuff unless Andy's home. And when Andy's home, then he starts peeing all over the place.
You know why, right? Because Andy puts it in front of him and goes, pees on it. And she's like, pee on it. Do it. He didn't give me the right Baby Yoda. I didn't need to pee on it. Then it'll show him.
I need more Baby Yoda.
No, but did I ever tell you about the community cat we adopted? Speaking of the cats,
Why do you have a community cat?
So when
never adopt a cat that will eat you alive.
No. So we didn't have a choice. We just thought it was cute, and then all of a sudden, she now is a part of our lives. So when Andy was living with her parents, there was a stray cat on the alleyway outside of her apartments with a missing eye. Mm-hmm. So every time I would drop her off, that cat would be around, and we gave him the name Nick Furry because he was missing the eye. And so he would be like roaming the streets, and sometimes we'd see him like with another cat or two cats and stuff, and be like, oh, it's like the Cat Vengers. And so that's kind of how that story started. So when we moved out,
you have very interesting dates.
Well, we get it's interesting to see those cats.
You follow on a date. You followed your
this was dropping her off. And those cats lived in the alleys behind her apartment.
I thought your date was following these stray cats.
No, that's not. Alleys. No, we're not that kind of people, Nick. Jesus Christ. Anyway, so we moved into our new place. This is a couple years ago, and we started noticing that there'd be this cat with a bow tie that'd walk around at random times. And we thought it was cute because, every now and then that bow tie would change. So one day we bought her snacks from Walmart, and we started giving her the snacks. Now the funny thing is, we call her bow tie. She'll make an appearance every now and then, but come out of nowhere and then walk us to our home and then wait outside for the snacks.
Yeah, because you fed a stray cat.
Exactly. And now she belongs there. She has owners in the other apartments across the way, but because she belongs to that area.
Because cats are whores.
They are.
Cats are whores.
They are.
I mean, sure.
Because a dog has a family. Like a dog is like, oh, this is my house. This is where I live. That's my mom. That's my dad. I don't really like that guy that much, but
that's my pee corner 1, pee corner 2.
Yeah.
These are the corners I pee in, and this is the area I stay in. A cat, on the other hand, is like, oh, I have 7 families.
It's like favoritism. It's like they just I like this human. It's not even like families. It's like you're my favorite human.
I'm going but not only that, but also if you're bored, they are known to leave the house.
Yeah, that's true.
And they learn your schedule. So essentially, if you leave it alone all day, it'll figure out, okay, well, this house over here has people, so I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna go to this house and I'm gonna go hang out over there. And then when my owners come home, I'm gonna come back, and I'll leave.
That's true.
Cats are evil.
Have you ever owned a cat?
No.
It shows.
I mean, I'm not a cat person. I'm allergic to cats, but for this one, I'll make an exception.
So we know how to kill Bryan.
Just throw a cat at you.
Cat bomb. I thought it was one of the old podcasts I used to be on. Right before we recorded, a buddy of ours, he had a cat, and the cat was the most annoying thing in the world. Not because it would meow or anything like that. It was because it would jump on the couch right before we record. It would then lay in my lap, then go, all right, cool, and then it's in my lap. So I like animals, so I start petting it and everything else. I pet it for 30 seconds, and I'm petting it the same way. Have not changed. It's done. So it turns around and just scrapes my arm.
Yeah,
and just to tell me I'm done. And then just leaves, and then walks away, and then 5 minutes later, it then jumps back on, and then starts caressing my arm, and kind of going
and starts purring.
Human, I want pets again. And then I was and then I literally went, no, screw you, forget this cat.
Yeah.
You know what? F this cat. This cat could die. I don't care. I could punt this cat.
So today we learned that you and I, Rene, are animal people, and Nick just loves dogs and despises everything else. You give Nick a fish, he'll be like, "Why the hell do I want a fish?" They just go bloop bloop.
No,
and that's it.
No, you give Nick a fish, he's gonna slap you in the face with a fish.
I didn't think about that, but yeah. And then I'd keep that fish and call it Bryan. Because now it's got one bubbly eye because it's been hit.
And with that, can we move on to the Doctor Strange topic at hand?
Yes. With that weird conversation.
That strange conversation.
Yeah.
It was
that's strange.
We got a strange trailer.
So
really quick before we move on to Strange, Did you guys watch the Jurassic World Dominion trailer?
Yes.
When I saw that, I just went, why?
Yeah.
Because you need 3 Jurassic Park movies.
No, I get the. I mean, you don't need them. I mean, if anybody who's seen the original Jurassic Park movies, no, you only need one.
Yes,
I mean,
but it's.
But here's my
trilogy.
Here was my thing though, because I was talking about it because me and a couple buddies of mine, when we were watching the Super Bowl, we started having this argument of what would they eat.
Humans.
What would they eat?
Like
plants.
Oh, to like sustain?
Because in one, what was it? Malcolm even says, well, how exactly are you sustaining them and how are you feeding them? Because they all have specific digestive systems that you've cloned. Mm-hmm. How are you doing that? And then they say, oh, well, we also raised up plants and we put them in the park. They didn't do that in the world. So what are they eating? Their digestive systems aren't made
You said it yourself. I mean, this is going to be a short conversation because we only got so much time in the podcast, Nick. But you said it yourself that the balance of the ecosystems would be disrupted when you start putting dinosaurs all over the place.
Oh, yeah, dude. I would never go to the beach.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even leave my home.
I wouldn't leave home.
It's called the
no
tunnel
flights.
systems.
Dude, I would just... honestly...
We become lizard people.
Honestly, I feel like subways are like the best thing.
No.
But not even...
No. Are you kidding me?
Not even Subway. Because then I don't want to be at home Netflixing and chilling with myself, and
you and a bottle of Crisco,
and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, T-Rex poop my pants comes out of nowhere and then ruins my night. I don't like that. I don't want to go outside and go, mow my lawn and then all of a sudden. And then going like, oh, well, today was the wrong day to mow the grass.
Oh, well.
Can you imagine also having like, then it goes into like, oh, yeah, insurance companies have to be like, oh, yeah.
Dude, could you imagine having dino insurance?
Yeah.
Oh, the T-Rex ate my car.
Wait, the T-Rex ate your car, but you're only covered for a brontosaurus.
Sorry.
What was that? So you are claiming that your car was lifted by a pterodactyl and thrown 5 blocks? Yeah. Okay. So your insurance doesn't cover that. It actually only covers raptor scratches and T-Rex stompings. But unfortunately,
like $20. Like what was
not
that?
Pterodactyl launches. I'm so sorry.
Your father was eaten by a T-Rex, but in his policy, he's only insured for raptors.
Torn from limb to limb.
Yeah. Actually, it's eaten whole is covered under this policy.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
It's not torn limb from limb. I'm sorry. This policy it doesn't cover your father's death.
See, that's
I'm
the
so
major
sorry.
flaw in Dominion. It's just kind of like
The real life aspect.
The real life aspect of that. It's just kind of like they don't touch onto it. It's just like, oh, we exist.
Dude, planes don't exist. We are literally stuck. We can't use boats. We can't use planes, and we can't travel
Lizard
by foot.
people.
Deadliest Catch would be more interesting. That's
Dude,
for sure.
Survivor is all of a sudden a twist.
No, Deadliest Catch is literally a GoPro on like one of those like those water.
The Amazing
dinosaurs.
Race, more
That's
like
it.
The Amazing Escape.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my God, yeah. Dude, lock up everybody in Utah with all the dinosaurs, and then just call it The Great Escape.
Just shut down Utah as a state.
Dude, I'll give them Utah. We're not using it anyway. It's fine.
It's just a bunch of Mormons there.
There's plenty of other states.
Are we using it?
Oh, well, we just lost our listenership from Utah.
We didn't have any listeners from Utah.
Yeah, they're all Mormons.
Yeah, they don't know what a computer is. They only know what computers are during Rumspringa.
Have you been to Utah?
No. Oh, yeah, I have actually.
I've been to a Walmart and I've seen like Amish people show up at Walmart just getting stuff and stuff like that. Yeah.
We've traveled all the way to South Dakota by car, so we've passed all those states.
Okay,
yeah, it's interesting. Okay, can we get to the topic at hand now?
You're
done.
I just had a conflict.
Okay, good. Now
That's
your
true,
conflict's
because,
over.
Well, honestly, we didn't talk about the Dominion trailer.
What do we need to know about Jurassic
garbage?
World?
It's garbage.
Yeah,
It's a fun nostalgia trip, and if you like it, you like it. Nothing wrong with it. But it's not a movie that
honestly,
really
I feel
is doing much.
I really do feel like the Universal wit. You know those Star Wars movies they made?
They brought back Star Wars. Guys, we got to bring back the dinos.
Yeah.
Like, they were pretty good, right?
No.
And then somebody was like, they're all right.
Studios are cashing in on this whole nostalgia trip. What do we got?
I mean, they're doing that with Futurama.
That's
a whole separate other topic. And we got to get to the Doctor Strange topic.
I understand that. We said we were things.
Yeah, good job, Nick. Anyways, Doctor Strange. TV spot, big game came out on Sunday, and
Yes.
that was the weird thing. Was that I was literally sitting down on my computer editing a video while the game was about to start in the background, and then I just see the Doctor Strange trailer or the TV spot show up before the game even started. That's a weird spot to place that trailer.
The weird thing for that was that all the trailers all were on YouTube.
Yeah.
2 hours before.
The full trailer?
Yeah, even Jordan Peele's trailer for Nope.
Everything that was
before
all the
game
trailers that
started.
were on the Super Bowl, they were all on YouTube. Before the
have
game.
they done that before?
I think they did that last year too.
They did it. It was the start
They've
of
done it a
last
couple
year
times.
because years prior we had to wait until
watch
the
the
trailer
Super
aired. But the thing is that now everyone's gone mostly towards internet, streaming stuff, because you can watch the Super Bowl now on Peacock. If you had the Peacock Premium, you would be able to watch the whole Super Bowl.
One of my
I watched it for free. I don't understand.
One of my buddies was he was sitting on the couch all by himself. And we were all in the kitchen because we were all like starting to get food and stuff like that. And it was the Expedia Ewan McGregor ad.
Yeah.
And all I hear is from that kitchen, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ewan McGregor's on the TV. And then we were all, and like everybody literally dropped everything, ran to the living room, and then it was just like, that's why you should go Expedia. And then it just ended, and we were all like,
You
monsters!
Yeah.
Who does this? Don't play with my Star Wars emotions.
They kind of did that with the Doctor Strange stuff because you didn't see it, right? Because you don't do sports, so no. So did you?
He doesn't know.
What was this supposed to be?
Yeah, what was that?
You could have just said football.
Were you throwing a battering?
Yeah, that's as far as he knows. See, if it was a game about them throwing batarangs back and forth, he'd watch it.
I watch it.
Or what is it called? The disc throwing stuff from Tron.
It's so funny. It was.
I would actually watch that.
Yeah,
I would watch that too. No, but it's so funny because it's funny you mentioned that because when I was over at Maddie's house this weekend and her brother and his fiance went to Disneyland and they saw they were celebrating the Rams winning at Disneyland. Apparently, they had like a little.
Yeah, they have a parade. They always have a parade there.
So me being me, I was like, why? And they go, well, because I'm
LA.
like, what do you mean? I'm like, they go well, because they won the Super Bowl. I'm like, is that important? I'm like,
now my question is that were you being serious or
no, I was trolling.
You're just being a jerk. Don't get me wrong. Super Bowl.
You kind of offended Nick. You're just like, wait, are you serious?
No. Because here's the thing, though. We kept on joking while there because we were all talking and catching up and eating and drinking and doing everything else. Where we kept tuning into the Super Bowl like every.
That's
20,
kind of
30 minutes.
Yeah, that's kind of how
we weren't really watching it because then one of the guys was like, oh, they just scored, and then we all went, wait, is there a game on right now?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, man, just started.
I think out of all of us, because you watch sports, but you're more of like fantasy and betting stuff, right?
If I can gamble on it, I'm in.
Sure. And then I
did
watch
RuPaul's
sports.
Drag Race, and I got really into that because
Did you bet on RuPaul's Drag Race?
Yeah, there was a fantasy pool on it. Yeah. Of course there was.
What?
Yeah, have you never seen fantasy pool
No.
RuPaul's Drag Race?
That's awesome,
dude. That thing is hilarious.
Oh my god!
You ever been to a bar and everybody there's bet on RuPaul's Drag Race?
No,
dude. It is a sports bar at that point. It is.
Can you do me a favor? Can you look up the expense? How expensive it would be to add the spots for Super Bowl ads? Yeah.
Probably like.
What is it more expensive?
What do you think? How much do you think it is?
I always thought that at
Let's make a bet.
I honestly want to see where your mindset is.
$5 right now. I always thought that at the beginning, before the game started, those ads would be cheaper. And then towards the middle and end, that's when the ads get more expensive.
It's just before halftime.
Just before halftime,
before halftime is when they skyrocket because more people
show,
tune in because the show is going to have more people tune in.
That's what I thought. So if they're releasing those trailers before, it would only make sense that Disney would spend as little money as possible if you can have free access to those trailers
so how much
on
do you
YouTube.
think it is?
Yeah,
I don't know. It's like millions and millions of
so
dollars.
Okay.
Give me a number.
So this is for 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Yeah,
30 seconds.
Probably like 5.2 million.
7 million.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
For a larger company, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For Disney, sure.
Dude, Disney pees that.
Yeah, exactly.
I was gonna say. They just need to take money away from a Disneyland profit. That's it. Like that's it. They made their money.
Dude, that's popcorn. That's popcorn sales for a week.
Exactly. They're good. So yeah, it makes sense. But one thing to note about that TV spot was that the TV spot had multiple different scenes that weren't showcased in the trailer.
Yes.
Right? And what was
Are you talking about the Doctor Strange TV spots compared to
the trailer?
The trailer.
Yes.
And then what was even awesomer about that, no, it's not a word, but still
awesomer
was that this trailer was much more revealing than the things that we got from No Way Home.
Yeah.
Because No Way Home set up, like, I have a feeling of like the atmosphere of what this trailer was or what this movie was gonna be like.
We didn't get heavy CGI scenes.
No, we didn't. It's like, this is the atmosphere that Sam Raimi's trying to put out there, and this is what you guys are going to be expecting from this movie. And then the trailer,
I don't expect this movie to be like action packed.
no, it's a storytelling.
It's gonna be a hardcore, ethereal, like comedy. There's gonna be a lot of comedy in it, just because that's how Sam Raimi is.
Yeah.
But I think it's gonna be like one of the. It's gonna be a weirder movie.
Yeah.
I don't think people are going to like it as much as everybody's.
Oh no, yeah, that's the thing. I feel like because he's having more, I don't want to say freedom, but they're giving him like, here, we know how you are, do that for Doctor Strange, but stay within these lines and stuff like that. But I feel like you said, it's gonna be like a more tamed vibe, like how because how like Evil Dead is and just how weird that is. If you take out the sexual stuff out of that and the gore.
Did you ever watch what was it? Evil Dead versus Evil Dead versus the World?
Evil Dead? No,
That's on HBO Max.
Yeah,
is it a documentary or
no? It's a TV show.
Oh really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a series. I think it went like 4 seasons, where it was after the events of Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2.
Oh, okay.
So it was what happens after. So I think it's like 20 or 30 years later. And
you mean Ash versus Evil Dead?
Oh yeah.
Ash okay. I was like, wait, Evil Dead versus the World?
No. Yeah, Ash versus Evil Dead.
I saw season 1 of Ash versus Evil Dead. That was actually pretty good.
Because he was a showrunner on that. If it's anything kind of like that, I'm going to enjoy the hell out of this. But I like weird.
Do you
stuff.
think the tone's going to be different from the trailer? The movie tone is going to be different than what we see on the trailer? Because the movie trailer, it makes it feel like this is serious, like this is multi-universe setup, and because we examined two different YouTube channels that were breaking down the trailer. It was what was it? The Nerdist I saw,
and then we saw Screen Crush.
Not Screen Crush.
It was
New
Rockstars. So they did a trailer breakdown of it, and what was interesting is out of everything that they were talking about, the tone. It was very thorough, but they were setting. It feels like this is a setup to pretty much the next phase of Marvel movies, and I know we've been saying that constantly with like all the TV shows and the last movies that came out, but this definitely feels like, whereas every other phase has had a theme, be it the Stones, be it the Assembly, be it whatever it is, that's trying to say that this phase 4 is going to be a multi-universe phase. This is going to be that theme. But
I feel like the next big bad is Kang. Kang is going to be our next Thanos.
I thought that was confirmed.
It is. No, because Kang is so far confirmed in Quantumania. We don't know if he makes it through Quantumania, or if he escapes and he becomes a bigger bad throughout the rest, or do they fix what's going on? Because mind you, we still have another 2 more movies of like things being like really weird. Yeah. Because Quantumania sounds like it's going to be crazy. Because it's going to be all about like going into like alternate dimensions, and it's going to be all about like quantum physics and how exactly like the miniverse and all these other things, and how like multiple dimensions, and Kang the Conqueror is now trying to take over the universe and all these other things. So this is going to be a continuous theme going forward in at least the next 2 movies.
Well, now your bigger question is, what is your divider of your phases? Because in every other phase, your big divider was your Avenger movies. Yeah. Miss Marvel is your big divider?
Because Miss Marvel is after Quantumania, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll put it up right now. Hold on.
If I'm not mistaken, Miss Marvel is after Quantumania, and Miss Marvel would be dealing more with space. Because you have the Marvels.
Okay.
Because that's supposed to be the difference between, and I think that's going to be going more towards Inhumans. Because you have to, because inside of that one, that's supposed to be also about Miss Marvel, which are Captain Marvel, and then also Photon.
So this is actually a good topic to talk about because I had my points made from the trailer breakdown, but I do want to ask this question then, and I want to know what our thoughts are on this. Is the Multiverse of Madness movie going to have ripple effects into the other movies that have yet to come out? Because...
So I will say yes, because we have Thor: Love and Thunder after that, which touches on to 3 different Thors. And then we have, after that movie, is Black Panther, which they have said that they're trying to work on bringing a Black Panther hero in that movie. So what we could be looking at is that basically them trying to fix that whole thing as well too by bringing in different variants.
Gotcha. So now the reason I asked that question,
because after those 2, it's the Marvels.
Yeah, it's the Marvels, but that's not until 2023. So the last movie of this year will be Black Panther.
This is the longest running phase then, right? Because this is stretching out to almost 4 years at this point. Because the reason I asked that is the New Rockstars said that essentially what this trailer is kind of alluding to, or at least what they're assuming, is that the Avengers timeline that exists in the MCU, the one that we all know for the last 3 phases, is not the main timeline. That's essentially what they're saying.
Not necessarily that it's not the main timeline.
It's an incomplete one.
It's an incomplete timeline. That basically House of M has already happened.
Yes.
And we are living in a No More Mutants timeline. The minute that we have Wanda Maximoff at her breaking point saying, which I'll make all the I want a world with all mutants, that's when she's fixing the timeline. And then you're going to have all these like ripple effects where it's like, oh yeah, mutants used to exist, but now they don't because of X, Y, and Z. Because I'm assuming that's the reason why Charles Xavier's there. Because why else would you bring Charles Xavier in and also Wanda Maximoff?
Well, I actually skipped to my next point that Sir Patrick Stewart made a little voice appearance in this trailer.
Yes, he did. Yeah. Which is interesting because Patrick Stewart did say, I'm willing to do Charles Xavier again, but it has to be good.
We talked about this, I think, 2 weeks ago, where I'm like, how interesting would it be to have Sir Patrick Stewart as Charles Xavier in this movie? And he said no, because you'd much prefer whatever his name is.
Oh, James McAvoy.
James McAvoy, which he's a good Professor X, but he's not, he's not the Professor X that like...
Dude, he's not. He doesn't look good bald.
Yeah, he kind of has a little bit.
He looks weird bald.
No, he's got the correct attitude and the correct persona. It's just his appearance doesn't make him look like it. So when I think of like Sir Patrick Stewart as Professor X, I'm like, that kind of hits the mark. So it is cool to see him go back into it. The fact that he is in that Illuminati, esque area. It's funny because a lot of people are hard pressed on the fact that it is the Illuminati, but right now we can only assume that it is because it's closely resembling to that.
Yeah. Well, I think because I was telling people this because they're like, do you think they will do Illuminati? I go, if they do, this is the only chance they get to do an Illuminati.
Yeah.
Not only that, but also I don't think it's going to be called the Illuminati.
No.
It's going to be called probably something different.
Like what?
It'll have all the Illuminati aspects of it, but they probably won't. They'll call him something else.
So let's
just because Illuminati has way too many.
It's got too many meanings.
It has way too many meanings in it. It has everything.
There's a reason why Marvel doesn't put it out anymore now. That's the thing. They used to, but now they don't.
Yeah. So I highly doubt that they're going to go like, oh, this title that we stopped printing because it got way too many connotations to it. Yeah, let's bring that into the movies and let's complicate our lives. I highly doubt they're going to call it the Illuminati. I think they're going to call it something else.
Marvel's greatest minds.
Yeah. Honestly, that
sings.
It has 2 M's in it.
Great minds or something. Yeah, it makes sense. My question is this, because this is an actually interesting point that one of the videos mentioned was which timeline does this Charles Xavier belong to? My theory is it's not, because the last time we saw Patrick Stewart's or Sir Patrick Stewart's Charles Xavier was in Logan, and he died there. Right? Yeah. So my theory is that this is the Sir Patrick Stewart we get from either, was it Apocalypse or was it Days of Futures Past when they go back in time? It's Days of Futures Past. I want to say it's Days of Futures Past.
I want this to be X-Men 90s cartoon.
See, I don't even think it's going to be related to any certain property. I think it's just going to be...
It's a separate...
It's Professor X... But it's not even. He's just from an X-Men universe.
Hear me out.
Okay,
that's it. Hear me out. This is the reason why I want this. For one, there's been some footage. I mean, not footage, but concept art of Patrick Stewart inside of a gold wheelchair. It's like the hovering gold wheelchair from the 90s cartoon. But also, think about it like this. If we say that that Professor X is then brought into our universe, think about how much lore they have. Because then you could then say everything that's happened inside of the 90s, in the 90s TV show, that happened. That's a thing.
They've already said that 90s TV show
is coming back.
It's coming back, and it's kind of weird because I forget who it was. It might have been Screen Crush or it might have been Nerdist that talks about it a little bit more, where they were saying that the 90s version of the cartoon was actually continued on as a comic book. And in the comic book, they completely erased that universe. It was like the end of the X-Men, essentially. Yeah. And so what they're assuming is that the X-Men from that universe are going to be coming back through some cosmic event, essentially. And that's how we get a reboot of this franchise coming back on Disney+. So that only makes sense. I am going to say that out of every theory that we have, it is interesting to see a Charles Xavier that's completely brand new be kind of like that leader of this group of great minds. But it is kind of off place when there's no lore to work back on. Because it would be interesting, and this is where I'm going to defend my point, that this is the Charles Xavier from Days of Futures Past. It would be interesting for this Charles Xavier to have witnessed the end of his timeline where all the mutants essentially have been killed off by the Sentinels, and Logan going back in time to try to stop the production of the Sentinels was only a branching timeline that would work then, but it would not fix the timeline that existed for him.
See, but I've always gone with the the mentality of where there's death, there will always be death.
Yeah.
So even though you saved the X-Men from the Sentinels and you saved the world from the Sentinels, there will always be destruction. We've already seen that the X-Men have been destroyed, so that means that they're going to be destroyed. You just chose a different path that they will be destroyed. And that's the thing, though, because think about it. If the same Patrick Stewart is the one that was in Logan, he's about the same age in Future Past that he was in Logan.
Looks-wise or age-wise?
Age-wise.
Okay.
Because it's about 20 years later.
Yeah.
So it's, give or take, it's about kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
In that one, he's fine because he's battling the Sentinels. After he fixes the Sentinels, he then has he then gets Alzheimer's and kills the X-Men. So no matter what, death was coming for them. It just depended on who was bringing down the sentence. So
death for them was like an absolute point. Exactly.
Death is an absolute point for the X-Men.
Brings me to the second point that New Rockstars mentioned, was they mentioned an absolute point concept in there.
Yes.
Which is like the breakdown of reality. Like in What If, we have the Doctor Strange, which is like episode 4, I think, where he goes past that absolute point, which is a point that cannot be redone. In his case, it was the death of Palmer, essentially, right? So,
which implies that there is an absolute point that happens to our Doctor Strange that we haven't seen yet.
What if that absolute, and this is where I'm going to theorize a little bit, what if that absolute point was the Spider-Man reveal?
Do you think Spider-Man was always meant to be revealed?
I have a feeling that No Way Home was supposed to happen the way it was, whereas Peter Parker's identity was supposed to be revealed, and Doctor Strange coming in there. It's probably a theory that's going to be proven wrong, but it'd be an interesting concept where his identity was supposed to be revealed, but by Doctor Strange interfering and essentially erasing the identity and all knowledge of Peter Parker's existence, by doing that, he destroyed that absolute point, and that is causing the breakdown of that current universe that we see right now.
I don't know, because it's one of those things of, is it an absolute point? Because because if you notice inside of the first one, inside of Doctor Strange, you notice that after he fixed that absolute point, it's not like the world continued and then eventually started to
It
fall
broke
apart.
down.
It immediately broke down. So I don't think Spider-Man being revealed was the absolute point that he broke. I think that there's something else that he does.
But what if that was the beginning of the breakage of the absolute point?
Maybe.
Because not necessarily, like, think from a cinematic perspective, if you just like have the entire universe collapse in on itself, the movie's not going to last that long. But if you make it out to be that this fractured that absolute point, and that is what's causing the breakdown of that universe, it's implying that the events of No Way Home is what's causing the destruction of the current universe.
But the problem is that, how do I fix something that I don't know I did?
I mean, that's probably what we're going to be getting answered in this new movie.
Well, because that's the thing that I'm trying to get at, because he says that I'm doing this across all universes, where Peter Parker is no longer known.
Uh-huh.
That means that even the Illuminati don't know that you're Peter Parker. So that means that nobody else knows what I did.
But they know of Spider-Man, though.
They know of Spider-Man.
But is he targeting universes or the Nexus point? Because technically speaking, that group of great minds would exist at a point where all universes meet, right?
We don't know that.
Exactly.
We don't know that because not only that, but also we have seen in Loki that those Nexus points can be changed.
Exactly. So
because in Loki, what was it? What's his name? Oh my God, Loki's partner inside of which one?
Female
Mobius.
Oh.
Yeah, Mobius forgets who Loki is.
Wow.
He forgets who Loki is, and also
Wow.
well, not only that, but also those who
firing these Nexus points. They're going.
those who which are he that remains and them. They all their statues change to Kang.
Yes.
Yeah.
So unless they explain that Loki, instead of Sylvie pushing him through the portal and going back to his universe, he was pushed into a different universe.
Uh-huh.
Or that was also changed because that can be manipulated.
I'm going to be honest. As far as we merely put our foot in the toxic multiverse,
Yeah.
and my head's already spinning. It's a concept, and that's
the thing. As a writing aspect, they can get away with a lot of stuff.
They can,
Yeah.
but you have to connect your points and make sure that it works. Otherwise, it's not.
That's the thing. But you could just explain away like, oh, it's multiverse.
Uh-huh. Oh, it was the multiverse
Well, it's
thing.
the multiverse.
Why is there a plot hole? Yeah, you know.
Yeah,
Multiverse.
but here's the thing though, that you can. There's always this thing of like, oh yeah, well, multiverse did it, but eventually there has to be a good point to it, or else it doesn't make sense, and the fans don't like it, and
Yeah.
like it's not gonna land.
Mm-hmm.
And I highly doubt, because Sam Raimi is a genius when it comes to writing multiversal characters, because even inside of Evil Dead, there was an alternate version of Ash.
Yes.
That he meets.
Did he write for Evil Dead?
Dude, he directed Evil Dead.
Oh, he directed?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
He directed Evil Dead.
They've also done like in the comic books for Evil Dead that there's a female Ash,
Yeah.
and she has like an interchanging hand.
Huh.
It's really cool, actually.
In the new show, Ash starts changing out his hand.
Yeah.
He has what was it? One of his buddies starts making him like little things that he can put on.
Yeah.
So he has a chainsaw that he can put on. He has a hand. He has a fork hand.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Where it's just like him poking at like food with a fork, and then he breaks it off into like one of the demon's heads.
Yeah.
Because he's eating, and then like a demon attacks him, and he's like, "Arr!" and he stabs him in the face with it. It's so great.
That's awesome.
It's awesome. But that's what I'm saying. If anybody was going to write weird, like sci-fi horror with also multiversal conflicts, I think Sam Raimi's the best person.
I feel like he can lay
to
it
attempt
out.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where this movie has to kind of tread water carefully, because you're not like No Way Home was written well enough, but it's not that it had its faults. Like even now that the hype's like died down,
you said what did you just say?
that it had its faults in terms of writing.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, you could obviously tell there's like one or two plot holes like that were there.
I thought you were going to say that it's God's gift to cinema.
I mean, I
honestly.
can say, not all creations have to be perfect.
Yeah.
Can I get a time check real quick on the recording? Because I do have other points.
45.
45?
We're about
Oh,
to
yeah,
hit 45.
there's the camera. I forgot we just started that as well. Anyways, so...
What is it? Tell me what's up.
there was another point that you did mention, and you, Rene, you made the comment as the new Rockstar was actually mentioning this, that the kids that Wanda created, essentially, right, in WandaVision are being held at Illuminati HQ. We'll just call it the Illuminati HQ.
That's what a new Rockstar is.
Yeah, that's what New Rock.
Okay, so why is it that point came to you as just like, oh, okay, yeah.
That wouldn't be too bad because again, it's alluding the fact that Charles is monitoring her, and that because that's what he did in House of M. He was aware of what Wanda was doing, but try to get through to her and tell her like, your children are not real. And I feel like he expects Wanda to storm in and just show her and be real with her and say, well, why are you doing this? These children you created are not, they're not from you. You just created them out of your mind, And I feel like that's what's going to happen.
This is more of like a study kind of thing, right? Yeah.
That's the thing.
Well, not only that, but also I can totally see that based off of that, if we were to allow the children to be in a different universe, or for them to go back into, you know, whatever point of reality that they actually do exist, that only could lead to Wanda going in search of them.
Yeah.
Like, eventually, I'm going to go to that new reality, and whatever reality it may be, we could get another. You know, event.
Because that's the point that they were like hard pressed on in WandaVision, was that she was searching multiple different dimensions to find her children, right?
Yeah.
So it only makes sense that for her to get to this headquarters, for her like point of recognition that this place exists would be that her kids are being held captive there. So that's not a very difficult point to disagree with.
The interesting thing I thought was brought up, because I actually never thought of that being plausible, of the fact that the Scarlet Witch and Wanda are two different personalities.
Didn't they kind of allude to that when
at the end of WandaVision?
Exactly, when she split herself up.
But then going deeper into that, because that's the thing.
But the thing is that, because you can say that she's just astral projecting. Yeah. That's what she's choosing to do. But when it was brought up, because I always thought that was weird. I was like, why is she astral projecting when no one's around her?
I feel like
that makes no sense.
I feel like she's always thinking that she's always being watched. And I think that's what it is that she's showing, she has that second version of herself that's just kind of walking around the house and stuff like that, while really she's doing what she's want to do is just look over the Book of the Damned.
I know, but because here's my thinking. If you think that magical people are going to be looking in on me, wouldn't they be able to see an astral projection, or at least sense that there's an astral projection?
Depending on how powerful she is. She's very powerful.
I understand that, but that's what I'm saying.
She's barely unlocking her full potential.
Because she is technically supposed to be stronger than the Sorcerer Supreme. That is, because they even mentioned that in WandaVision of like, you surpass the Sorcerer Supreme. Like, Sorcerer.
For all we know, she probably learned that and started doing that. Maybe that's the thing. So,
but my thing was is that what about if she was astral projecting unconsciously?
Yeah,
it's not necessarily her meaning to do it. It's the aspect of her that still loves her kids and she's still looking for them, and knowing I'm going to like. There's nothing I wouldn't do. So she's doing this unintentionally because she still doesn't have full control.
Chaos magic is a weird topic.
That's my thing, though.
For all we know, it could be she split it herself.
Yeah.
She technically has two. There's a Wanda version. There's Wanda, but then there's a Scarlet Witch. But maybe in a twist, like Rami likes to do, if anything, Wanda is the actual darker version of that.
So it's funny that you mentioned that, because in the trailer there's multiple different scenes, at least like 2 or 3, where you have, the Scarlet Witch basically in some scenes, and then Wanda overlook. There's one. Yeah. It's in the house, right? So Scarlet Witch is kneeling down and Wanda, dressed in her like normal clothes, is walking over to her. And then we have multiple scenes where she's dressed in her Scarlet Witch attire, and then other scenes where she's dressed in her casual attire. Yeah. So it's interesting to possibly have that idea, which brings me to my last point of the conversation to kind of like bring this together before we move on to the other topic.
You think it's in our mind palace?
It's not that, but it's the idea of multiple different characters and versions and variants, being shown in this movie, because it's so, I kind of like threw this idea away when it was kind of being thrown around over social media, how supposedly there's rumors and speculations of multiple variants of existing characters being shown in this movie, where we were going to get a superior Iron Man, we were going to get a different version of Black Panther, we were going to get different versions of Doctor Strange, which this trailer confirmed, because we have Defender Strange, which I don't know how they're kind of crossing over with that, because the only clues they have is that white streak of hair that he has over here in the ponytail.
Well, no, his outfit is a Defender's outfit.
Okay, so that's a strong illusion. We have that. Then we have the normal Strange that we know exists now, and then we have the evil Strange, which we can allude, again, this is all assumption, that is from the What If universe.
Yes. Maybe.
But maybe.
And then we have Zombie Strange.
And then
what looks to
we're
be
going to say it's Zombie Strange, because we were arguing that it was supposed. A lot of different outlets are saying this is an evil entity, right?
We don't know what it is.
We don't know, but it's kind of.
It might. You know what? I think that might be the What If Strange.
The What If giving Zombie Strange, right? Because the TV spot had Zombie Wanda in there as well.
Zombie Wanda is there, but that's what I'm saying is, because what about if the person that is currently in control right now is Scarlet Witch. It's not Wanda Maximoff.
Mm-hmm.
While going through the Darkhold, Scarlet Witch has become more powerful, and it's a darker, deeper personality.
Mm-hmm.
And it's locked Wanda Maximoff in her own mind palace, which is her home.
Yeah.
And the fight that happens is Wanda taking over her body again.
Mm-hmm.
Because why else would you go to the Westville home?
So you're saying that is kind of like an end scene to the movie?
I don't think that's an end scene. I feel like that is an end fight of Wanda fighting herself inside of her own mind, while Wanda is fighting Strange and whatever else is going on in the world.
Okay.
How mad would
That's a
you
cool
be
theory.
if we're in the theater and that theory turns out to be true again, and Nick's just like freaking like I don't know how many like
Dude, I'll whip
predictions.
my penis out right there.
It's a 50-50.
I swear to God, I'll be like, oh, dude, you're gonna need to jerk me off sometimes.
It's a 50-50 split for me now because he was wrong about Grogu about taking the lightsaber.
He was, but one out of how many predictions?
But in all fairness,
You were going deep with whole like
Grogu
Grogu having the lightsaber.
I really thought that was gonna be it. I was hoping that it was gonna be there,
Nah,
but
man,
also
I knew it
get
because it was Disney, and they were like, "No, we gotta have Grogu back."
Yeah.
for
So-
season
I was
three."
hoping that they were gonna go against the
Business
money.
mind, you know?
It was really- but I got everything else right in that.
So
There was a lot of other things that I got in there.
No.
So let's go ahead and wrap this topic up before we move on to Peacemaker. So let's go ahead and just kind of go around in a circle and kind of discuss what we want to see from this movie,
Yeah.
or what we hope to see from this movie, and what we think of the teases so far. Like, how's it kind of like reaching out towards people? I'll just go ahead and start, and then we'll go with Rene afterwards. Basically, what I hope to see from this movie is more. It's kind of I want to see an expanse in storytelling. I want to see and have them take advantage of the fact that they have so many different properties now. And I hope they have doors open for those properties to come into the current run of the MCU. Because to not have the X-Men in the MCU, to not have things like Deadpool, which they did mention there, it'd be a really great opportunity to have someone that breaks the fourth wall be in there, right? You have so many different opportunities and avenues to come in and expand on the MCU storyline so that it can continue for years to come, right? The impact that this movie is having amongst the community is kind of weird, but I understand why. Spider-Man is a big name. It's as big as, Batman and Superman, and it is like it's a world known like, oh God, shut up.
Oh my God. Come on, Nick. Even you should know.
Peter Packer.
This guy
Peter
over here.
Packer.
Are you gonna pull up a PowerPoint and show me how he's like the worst superhero ever, or what?
Would you like me to make one?
No, please.
Because it can be done. Give me a day.
That's a video idea. We should make like PowerPoint presentations of our favorite superheroes and see who would like they can tackle them on or
Now
something.
me will be just be like Batman because he's awesome. Thank
Batman.
Thank you for my TED Talk. Thank you for coming to my TED
Batman.
Talk.
You just put the bat signal on there and just be like, thank you.
He's effing rich.
Honestly,
I mean-
Batman has the better villains too. That's the thing.
Okay, that's up for
I mean,
debate.
I'm just
Anyways,
saying.
so what I'm
We don't
going
have
back
time
to my
for this.
point.
We don't have time to prove Bryan wrong.
Point being, Spider-Man's a big name in the
Yes.
MCU. So
Yes.
in terms
In
of
the MCU.
advertisement and how far it reached out, you're gonna have more excitement for that movie.
Yes.
Right? It's a big name.
It's
The problem I'm having.
Hang on, let Rene
No,
speak.
No, I'm just saying.
Nicholas?
I
getting-
was answering your question.
Well, then wait.
I'm getting
God.
I'm getting a little bit mad how
something at you.
people are now comparing to whenever a new comic book movie comes out now.
Yes.
They're just constantly like, well, I don't know, it's gonna beat like with Batman, it's like I don't know if it's gonna beat Spider-Man. I'm like, it's not. I'm gonna like because the reason why is Spider-Man had that hype of the possible 3 Spider-Men in the movie. Batman doesn't have that. Doctor Strange, I mean, we're gonna have
Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, but the thing is that there's nothing else driving. There's no other theories than that. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Spider-Man No Way Home was a cinematic history moment where you have 3 different Spider guys that did movies,
Yeah.
all in the same movie. That's historic.
it.
And
Yeah.
in nerd culture as well too. Batman doesn't have that. Doctor Strange doesn't have that. That's
Yeah.
the thing. So don't compare.
Well,
it.
Batman
We don't-
does have it.
Well, hold on. In
Well,
all
in
fairness,
Flash, they're gonna do that. In
we don't.
Flash.
I mean,
Yeah.
we also don't know how many people are going to be in this movie. Like
Yeah.
we don't. We are like honestly, if they, I feel like Patrick Stewart is the smallest of the gets.
Probably. That's why another thing.
That's what
Easy reveal.
Yeah.
He's an easy reveal.
Yeah.
He's an easy person to like go like, I know exactly who it is because of the voice. Mm-hmm. I think that he is of the like people we got. Mm-hmm. He is literally the lowest on the totem pole. We got bigger fish. We just aren't showing them yet. So like we're holding our cards for it.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to get at is this movie is not a household name in the MCU. It's Doctor Strange, so it's not going to have the same popularity as a movie like Spider-Man No Way Home, but it's going to have the biggest impact. And I think you said it best last week that Spider-Man No Way Home was just the starting point of this phase of the big reveals that we're going to be getting. Yeah. Exactly. And I have a feeling, and I'm going to jump with one of the things that you guys said in the previous issues, when you have a movie that's overloaded with characters, you're going to have the problem of essentially not knowing what direction to go. So I have a feeling that the characters that are going to be revealed, if Sir Patrick Stewart, excuse me, I keep forgetting Sir, if Sir Patrick Stewart is just the earliest of reveals, there's going to be more. And they're going to be teases and not main characters to the story. It's like, this is what we're going to be doing. We might even get a Reed Richards Fantastic Four reveal at this point.
I honestly do think that what we've seen so far is the first 10 to 15 minutes of this movie and maybe 15 minutes at the beginning, maybe like 20 seconds of the middle, and then
they always show like a little bit of
and
the
then
end.
Parts of the larger final battle of what's going on, because they've already shown that America Chavez is in Illuminati HQ. So she has to get released in order for you to have the rest of the show.
Yeah.
The rest of the movie. So that means that he gets picked up by the Illuminati early. He comes in. They explain everything to him. Hey, you need to go fix this.
Yes.
Like you busted up a couple universes by doing whatever it is you did. Take America Chavez. She can take you through different universes and fix this. Because you've killed a lot of other universes. Because who knows? Maybe it's not our universe that's dying. Also, we don't know if this is our Strange.
That's true too.
That's very true.
Because the one thing I've noticed is our Strange doesn't have a blue patch on the cape.
Okay.
This new Strange does. So what about if it's a different Strange from a different universe that Strange is now connected to? I mean, I can totally see a Sam Raimi movie where we have an entire movie with Doctor Strange and everything like that, and then Doctor Strange wakes up to be like, or he was like meditating.
Before you continue on with your point, can I interject 1 second, Rene?
Go for it.
You know that Wong, when he was walking through the portal, right at the beginning of No Way Home, he was going through this, like, the portal in the background had,
he was
like,
going to Carmitage.
There it is. So it'd be funny if he's going into that portal. That's kind of like the transition into this movie as well.
I think that would be genius. Of like he's going to go deal with a different Strange.
Yeah.
I could explain that the whole like different levitation cloak is what you're talking about. I'm thinking, I mean, they could do it where Strange is fighting someone in the beginning of the movie, and something happens to the levitation cloak to his, and then gets another one from like the Illuminati thing.
I see.
That could be explained away like that. That's what I'm saying.
No, and don't get me wrong. It totally could.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It totally could. But
Nick's right again.
but I think having those little tiny things would be interesting of just kind of going, and not only that, but also it very much feels like a Sam Raimi thing to do.
Yeah.
No, that's true.
Of having an entire movie, all this invested into it.
It feels like a Rick and Morty episode at that point.
where basically everything's going on, and then out of nowhere, at the very end of the movie, the universes are saved and everything else, and then Doctor Strange wakes up. And
it's that movie or that part right there where he like the reoccurring nightmare.
Yeah, and like he wakes up and it's like, oh my god, like what happened? Like oh my god, all these like universes.
I can't agree with that though. That'd be such a waste of time. But it wouldn't be surprising.
It's
a Sam Raimi move. It's the same. I
wouldn't be mad, honestly.
Why?
Because it's Doctor Strange. That's totally something you could do.
This is something that Marvel has promoted and said that this is gonna be a different formula for Marvel movies. This is weird. It's weird
gonna be
film.
A weird movie.
Yeah,
because they were originally saying that this was gonna be horror. Like it was like a hardcore horror film.
It is technically kind of
before Sam Raimi came, it was supposed to be like they were saying this is gonna be a hardcore horror film. Like we're gonna make the first Marvel horror film, and then all of a sudden they were like, we're gonna make a comedy horror film.
I feel like they've changed the script dramatically from when they first announced it to now.
Well, yeah, because No Way Home wasn't written.
That's the thing. and I would love to hear the original pitch.
They're never gonna do that.
No, but it would have been
It'd be
interesting.
interesting.
It'd be so interesting.
No, I think like 10 years from now, they'll probably release a script, or a script will get released. I mean, it's the same thing at finding out that like Tom Cruise was like in the running for Iron Man. And we found that out like 5-6 years later, where everybody was like, "Oh yeah, did you know that Tom Cruise was going to be Iron Man?"
Yeah, he was the original thought. Yeah,
and everybody was like, "Oh, Tom
But
Cruise."
production
Iron Man?
scripts are something that usually don't get revealed.
Oh yeah,
Sometimes.
I think it depends on the property or the studio wanting to release it.
Yeah,
you know?
Disney, they own like Area 51.
Because also it depends too, because like they noticed that the script for No Way Home was a little different. The one that they turned in for Oscars. For Oscars and the Golden Globe, there were things that were slightly different.
Gotcha.
Well, yeah. Well, even then, before No Way Home came out, when they were trying to think of Spider-Man 3, they were like, "Oh, we might just do Kraven the Hunter."
Yeah.
That's the thing. And then Kevin Feige's like, "Let's do Spider-Verse."
Close us out, Rene, with your thoughts.
My thoughts is, so what I want from this movie, if anything else, I just want to see some weird variants. Yeah. Honestly, I want to see like actors that I would never think will.
Tom Cruise's Iron Man.
Not that, but I mean, yeah. But I want to see like actors just like for the joke of it. You know, just like, oh yeah, just like Kevin Hart is like, so, you know, like Black Panther.
They actually do that. You're just like, what?
Yeah, that's like, have fun with it.
Dude,
this is your only chance.
Dude, what if they bring in Wesley Snipes' Blade?
Yes.
Into the movie, and then that's how you introduce to Blade and the vampires and everything like that with their mystics.
Ben Affleck as Daredevil.
Dude, Ben Affleck as Daredevil would be awesome.
That would be cool. See, like, just have fun.
Just get
with
weird.
It.
Honestly, get weird. With
you had this chance, I would. And
it's
it's
a good,
so many different variants, like with actors.
It's a good opportunity because all they would need to do is show up for like maybe a couple days of shooting and then peace out and then not have to talk about it.
They can't. Yeah, that's it.
Well, not only that, but also they wouldn't even know what they were doing.
Yeah.
Because it would probably be on like a green screen or something like that. So I mean, that's what what's it called? That's what oh my god, Tobey Maguire and them said. They said there was a good portion of the movie that they were like, oh, we have no idea what the fuck is going on.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, thanks for that. Can I get a timestamp?
Jesus Christ. An hour, 2 minutes, and basically like 45 seconds.
I was going really far with it. I almost made it. I
know, Jesus, man.
I almost made
Thanks for that.
I mean,
that's a good note to end on right there.
Basically, yeah. We should move forward.
James Gunn. Peacemaker.
Speaking,
it was good. Thank you guys for watching.
Speaking of,
I was like, it was good. Peacemaker was good. Thank you guys for watching the show.
And let's close out. Yeah.
All right. So Peacemaker came out a couple of weeks ago, almost like 2 months ago at this point, right?
Right.
Because it's 8 episodes. Eight episodes. Great show, and not, at least on my end, something that I wasn't asking for, but we very much needed.
I will say this: I thoroughly enjoyed Peacemaker more than Book of Boba Fett, in my opinion.
I feel like Peacemaker and Suicide Squad was the comedy and the like kind of lightheartedness that the DCEU really needed.
Yeah.
Like it introduced these characters that you can laugh, you can cry with, but also kind of hate as well. Kind of go like that guy's kind of a jerk.
Yeah.
But also really care about characters. I honestly, I don't care about Martha Kent. I don't care about like Superman is kind of meh.
Yeah.
Like, do you really like honestly? If like somebody were to like go like, oh yeah, I shot Superman with a kryptonite bullet, would you be like, oh no, like you're a devil? Like, I'd be like, oh man, that sucks. Like,
sucks to be Clark Kent.
Which is also interesting because that apparently did happen in the DCEU.
So I'm thinking about this, right? What you were saying, I was thinking about it earlier, where it's like it was a breath of fresh air, because granted, the Snyderverse was enjoyable for what it was, but
has its moments.
It had its moments, but that's all it was. Like when you think of like cinematic comic books, like cinematic comic book storylines and storytellings, you automatically think of Marvel, right? If you say DC, okay, sure. Right?
DC is a clip show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like if you want your cinematic universe, you go for the animation when it comes to Warner Brothers. They knock it out of the park every single time. Right? But DCEU was missing something, and it was missing like an entity that was like an identity that was making it unique, right? And James Gunn essentially did that with the Suicide Squad and with Peacemaker. It was funny, but it was also good storytelling.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, we've got like 40 minutes pretty much to summarize this show. It was Peacemaker's journey to try to find out who he was and to separate himself after he killed Rick Flag.
I did think it was funny because I was trying to sell a friend on watching Peacemaker because Peacemaker just ended, and I was like, you guys should watch Peacemaker. It's really good. And he goes, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not really into the DC. I'm not like really into it. And I go, okay, let me show you a clip. And if you like it, watch it. And he's like, all right, cool. So I ended up showing him the clip where they framed Peacemaker's dad. And then he's like, there are so many other people you could have chosen. And he just goes through like 30 people.
That was all improvised,
Yeah,
right?
that's all improvised by John Cena. And he goes, I heard about this, that John Cena just like improvised like 30 names and everything. I didn't know what it was from. And I'm like, dude, it's Peacemaker. He goes, all right, I'm in. I'm going to start watching tonight.
John Cena, honestly,
is a comedic genius.
He's so great. And I think he finally found his niche now with this character of Peacemaker. You can totally tell he's expressing how he is. He also, opened up about his sexuality playing this character as well too.
Yeah,
because
you need to be a little closer to the mic.
He's like bisexual.
Yeah.
In real life. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
It was a point that they made.
That. I feel like people could have called that.
No, but that's the thing is that he opened, because that was the thing is that James Gunn had to go out and confirm it that originally Peacemaker isn't bisexual.
No,
he's not.
But because John Cena played him and played him this way, he wrote him as bisexual, which is an interesting point because, okay, go ahead and get bothered by it if you're that kind of person, but honest to God, it wasn't like something that was really supposed to be analyzed. It was kind of like, okay,
it didn't feel out of left field.
No.
That's the thing. You're watching it, and he makes one of the like funniest remarks when he's talking to Court when they're in the bar, and it's just like, listen, it's been a while since I've I've had sex with a woman. He's like, it's like, and that's brushed off. That's the thing.
But I feel like that's how you normalize sexuality is by making it normal. We don't spend an episode and a half on why exactly
that's
he likes
the thing.
to sleep with men. It's this thing of like, like dudes, okay, whatever. So about these butterflies.
Yeah, and then they're showing that what is it? He has a 3-way with Vigilante and the girl from the apartment complex. Yeah. And that was it. It was treated just normally.
Not only that point, but John Cena does an excellent job at integrating his personality into the character that we get to see on screen. Because a lot of the times what you do see in acting is you see the actor trying to portray the character they read on script.
Yeah.
And there are a couple times, when we think of, or in the comic books, Robert Downey Jr. basically made Tony Stark the way he is, but that's because he himself put himself into that character.
Yeah.
That's a good example of it.
I really do feel in like Robert Downey Jr.'s like aspect, like the idea of inside of the MCU, whenever there's a scene where Robert Downey Jr. is just kind of like talking or anything else, he's eating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And apparently that's just a thing Robert Downey Jr. does of like, he'll hide snacks on set.
Yeah.
Like, or not even hide. He'll just bring snacks on set and he'll just start eating and he'll make it.
But that's how you get organic scenes.
That's the thing, and that's what makes great. Filming that. It's like when you show a character eating, you're showing that they're human and stuff. It's just they're just sitting there.
They're doing everyday actions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to kind of see how the actors can kind of manipulate that, because if you've seen any of like the Avengers comics and even the cartoons and stuff like that, they've then adapted those things that were brought in by Robert Downey Jr., that were brought in by Steve Evans or any of these other characters, and they brought it into the original source material and going, oh, those things were amazing and those are really good things to add in. So we're going to make those canon inside of the actual universe, and we're going to make those part of his canon now. Those are things that he does.
Point being, I was having this conversation. We talked about it about 2 weeks ago, and I am writing an article piece that'll be found on keepingupwiththenerds.com.
Hey.
Go check it out. So there is a piece I'm going to be writing out there on our Nerdy Planet section where I analyze James Gunn's directional style and how he kind of portrays the characters in his movies and TV shows. And it was based off this conversation I had with a friend where he was turned off by Peacemaker because of the conversations these characters were having off main plot. That he didn't feel like they were organic, that it just kind of felt forced. But that kind of isn't what I got from it, at least from my personal take. And it kind of seems like the consensus here is that we don't agree with that. Because Robert Downey Jr. had this idea, like you said, he ate every time he was on screen. But that is his character or his persona being integrated into Tony Stark. What we see here is the conversations that every character had aside from the main plot was not to progress the plot forward, but it was to kind of build these relationships between every character. So every time there was a little bit of banter, a little bit of like kind of like jokingness behind it, it was building that chemistry between the two. In the last episode, literally the whole thing started with them just going like that, right?
Well, that's the thing. That's how it is in everyday conversation. When you're doing a task that you need to focus on and doing, and you're just in a
We don't
group,
just talk about that. We talk about other stuff.
You don't talk about trying to further the plot or trying to make the story rich. You're legitly just like, if we're not podcasting, we're just talking about miscellaneous things.
Exactly.
You know?
But
it's organic.
Yeah. My other thing that I really liked about that, and the thing that really went in, is the fact that Christopher Smith is awkward. He does not know how to talk to people.
Yeah.
So if you thought his conversations were forced, it was because Christopher didn't know how to have a genuine conversation with other people.
Yeah.
So he was forcing himself to talk to them, and the conversations were weird and forced.
Yes.
So it's a character thing while also being this, like, I'm going to make comedy with Christopher Smith's weird character quirk of the fact of he's kind of been by himself.
Yeah.
His entire life. I mean, he had his brother, which his brother was cool. Then
He had a pet eagle.
he had Eagly, and that's kind of it. And like he had his dad, but his dad was a dick. Like
Then he had his
dad was a
best
jerk
friend.
and a racist. Yeah, and then he has his best friend Eagly, and then he has Vigilante, who
I think you need to put it on charge.
I got it. Keep talking.
yeah, but then he has like Vigilante, and I mean even Vigilante, like he doesn't really like.
That's the thing.
Just kind of a weirdo.
Like he's just a weirdo that follows me around. Like he's not really like my best friend.
You could tell that, like you said, when he was talking to people, it's very awkward unless someone mentioned rock and roll. And then that's when he got into the conversation.
Yes.
Yeah. He was like, oh, yeah, man, they're rock and roll. That's when he started talking normally, was when someone would mention anything about rock and roll or anything of his likes, because those are his likes. That's a thing.
Yeah, that's a thing that he can talk all day about. But also, then we also found out that that's the thing that his brother got him into.
Yeah.
Where it's like, this is something that me and my brother would talk about all the time. And everything else. And that's another reason why he would be super excited, because that brings up memories of his brother and everything else. But I really did appreciate how awkward he made him, because I think that would be kind of, it wouldn't show that if Christopher Smith would just like go and have regular conversations with people, because you need that growth by the end of it, because it's even shown. I don't know. Like, people think I'm a dick. People think I'm a jerk. People don't like me. They like when they all call him out. Like they call him out in like episode 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Where they're just like, dude, you're a jerk.
Yeah.
Like
That's why no one likes you.
That's why nobody likes you.
Yeah.
And he had like this like brain blast of going, oh my god, they're right. Like, I'm a jerk. Rick Flag was right. I'm a joke.
Oh, yeah.
Like I'm a joke. And I think that's so interesting, because he's made a persona for himself that he thought everybody would love, that it sucks. Like, everybody hates you because of this persona. Whereas
He had to question his ideologies and the way that he was kind of brought up.
Exactly.
It's an interesting take on, and you know what? It solidified, for me at least, how James Gunn is going to be moving storytelling wise as a director as well in future projects, because we kind of saw. And that was the question I asked you guys. Like, what movie made James Gunn or gave him his identity? It was Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Well, as
I
a
would say
mainstream.
Slither.
Well, mainstream
No,
wise.
Slither was like, mainstream wise.
Mainstream wise, Guardians of the Galaxy. As a director, I would say Slither.
Because Slither has a lot of the same quirks and conversations that are seen in pretty much everything he's
That's
done.
a thing.
In Scooby-Doo, which was then carried into Scooby-Doo 2.
Yes, as well too.
Yeah, because he wrote Scooby-Doo.
He wrote Scooby.
wrote
Didn't direct
Scooby-Doo.
it, but directed Scooby-Doo 2.
Yes.
Right? And he also wrote...
which is weird, because that's also the worst of the Scooby-Doos.
Yeah. I think it's the characters. That's why he had to, with the characters that, like, when you have characters
I'm not allowed
like,
to do everything I want to do with them.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
So he did what
Which
he
is the
wanted.
point I made in the article, actually. I actually made that point in the article.
Oh, really?
In
About the
draft,
Scooby-Doo too? Yeah.
It was that basically that the characters were already outlined and have existed for so long
Yeah.
that you can only write them a certain way, and he didn't have the opportunity to actually
couldn't-
really
he
do
couldn't-
his
yeah.
own, put his own signature onto it.
You can't divert from the Bible.
No,
That's the
whereas
thing, yeah.
Guardians, they
Those
were
were
delisted characters.
Same thing
Well,
with
yeah, because they just went
Suicide
like
Squad as well too.
literally you could do anything with these characters and no one will correct you.
Yeah.
Like no one knows them.
No one's gonna argue with you. Yeah. No one's gonna
What?
be mad.
You made Daphne an egotistical girl that's always following Fred? What?
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 You
Yes.
pointed out the truth?
What? Yeah, obviously. There's
The
like
thing is that
multiple.
he does change certain things that later on become canon inside of Scooby-Doo. Like
Mm-hmm.
Daphne doesn't become like a martial artist.
Yeah.
And everything else, but that became canon in the newer Scooby-Doos.
Yeah, no, Mystery Incorporated and What's New Scooby Doo,
Yeah.
which are the best animated versions of
I thought
Scooby-Doo.
it was hilarious because I showed that show because my students one day I was like, "What show do you guys want to watch?" And they were like, "Let's watch Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated." And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, and they're like, "Yeah, it's the new Scooby Doo show."
Oh no, it's an old one.
Dude, no, it's the newer one that was on
latest
Netflix.
one.
The
The
latest
latest
one that was put on Netflix.
Mystery Incorporated came out years ago.
Oh, okay, so it's the
So they-
newest one.
So it's
There's
the
one on
newest
HBO
one.
Max.
Yeah, whichever one it is. I don't. There's so
No,
many.
don't
guess
follow
who
Scooby-
Scooby Doo?
I don't know.
I only watch What's New Scooby Doo
Listen,
because of that.
we're straying away
that
from my point.
Intro was fire.
What's New Scooby Doo? Okay, that's it.
So, but anyway, the reason being is because I turned it on. No, dude, because I turned it on and I started watching it with the kids, and I thought it was just going to be a Scooby-Doo show. I didn't know that that this show was an animated version of Riverdale with Scooby-Doo.
Mystery
I was.
Incorporated. You've never seen Mystery Incorporated?
I've never seen that show.
Oh, both of you guys need to watch that one.
Is that the one where it's basically just Riverdale?
Yes.
Where like Fred's
Riverdale
parents
drama, yeah.
No,
where,
no,
like,
no.
there was an old Mystery
Okay,
Incorporated,
like-
and then
No. Yes and no. So let's not.
You're right, but you're not right.
You're right, but you're not, because putting that next to Riverdale is a crime. Because this is actually like actually good writing.
The reason no. When I say it's Riverdale, it's using these old characters and then putting them inside of basically like a murder mystery.
Yes, and there's actual consequences.
Yeah, there's like actual consequences and there's like real stakes or what was it? I was watching the episode like
And
I was
guess how
watching-
the ending
dude,
is
I was
like.
watching the episode where Fred's stepdad is the one that murdered his parents, and I was like,
Oh, do you want to know the ending?
no, I don't.
Oh, that's season 2 of Riverdale.
No, but dude, I was watching this with my students. They're second graders, and I'm like, do you guys know what's going on? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, really? Tell me. And they were like, well, Scooby Doo and them caught a bad guy. And I'm like, I don't think they know why they caught him.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it clicked with them.
Mystery Incorporated is one of the better ones.
Yeah, dude, I was watching it and I was like, this is a really adult kind of like Scooby Doo.
They have an episode
I'm
where
down.
they bring back multiple what are they called? What is the cartoons that existed way back in like the 50s and stuff?
The Hanna-Barbera?
Hanna-Barbera.
They bring back a bunch of those characters
In that one?
in that show, yeah.
Hanna-Barbera's characters are pretty awesome because that's actually what happens inside of Scooby-Doo 2 with James Gunn. He uses a lot of the Hanna-Barbera characters.
Yeah. So, are you looking it up?
Yeah.
Which is also really weird because Seth Green was in it.
When
and,
did it come out? This year?
Mystery Incorporated?
Yeah.
Mystery Incorporated was like a 2018 or
It was just called
2017.
Mystery Incorporated.
It's Scooby-Doo. Oh, yeah, it's called Mystery Incorporated.
Okay.
It's not Scooby-Doo.
Oh, okay.
Scooby-Doo and the Mystery Incorporated or something like that. You'll see it as soon
No,
as you see it.
I
Anyways,
could've
we're talking
sworn
about
I-
Scooby-Doo, but
I-
we should be talking about
I
Peacemaker
could have
here.
swore it came out in like early 2000.
It's live action?
No,
Or is it-
it's. I'll show it to you afterwards. Can we get back to Peacemaker?
No.
No, I want to know. Dude,
This is no Scooby-Doo podcast.
Yeah.
Dude, we're past Peacemaker. It's good.
Yeah. Peacemaker. It got renewed for season 2. It's obviously
Yeah,
good.
it's obviously good.
And it's going to be directed and written by James Gunn.
Still,
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
there's 2 more points I want to talk about for
Oh,
Peacemaker
okay.
before. Oh my God, really?
I'm kidding.
Once again, Scooby-Doo.
Great conversations, or keeping it up so that way people listen to the podcast, Renee.
no,
Oh my God, this guy won't shut up. All right,
Because I want to
thanks.
talk about Scooby-Doo.
We'll talk about Scooby-Doo later. If you put your freaking mic next to your mouth, dude.
And you know what? I would if we watched Scooby-Doo.
Do you want to watch Scooby-Doo?
No.
Dude, I want to cuddle and watch Scooby-Doo. That
I'm
sounds
not.
adorable.
No, then you can cuddle Renee. I'm not gonna do that.
Can we cuddle each other?
No,
Can,
both of you. Yes,
Like a
I'm not a
no,
part of
I
it.
want like a cuddle train.
No,
like, I'll cuddle
no,
Renee. Renee
no,
cuddles you.
no.
And then,
You know how many of our listeners want that to happen?
Yeah,
and then
probably
you can, and then
maybe
you
like
can cuddle.
Two.
And then you can cuddle.
We don't know.
Andy.
The people in Russia could be weird.
Yeah, and then you cuddle Andy so that way it's not as weird.
Yeah.
You know, it's just because you're a weirdo. Like you can't cuddle his
All right.
friends.
All right. Peacemaker, Bryan. What was a couple points you want to make about
So,
Peacemaker?
oh my god, I almost lost my point. So, it was funny. It was okay. So, one of the biggest highlights of Peacemaker, right, is the intro, the
Okay. Yes.
unskippable intro,
Yes.
which does not fit the tone of the show whatsoever, and was done in a high school gymnasium.
Yes.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
They literally
it's
there's
in, what the one that you're talking about because you were talking about it earlier about James Gunn talking about it. It's inside of the Peacemaker podcast. In
there's
the
a Peacemaker podcast.
It was after
Yeah.
every episode, where like they would talk about it and then they would have cast on from the show
That's
talk about it.
Dope.
It was
okay.
it's literally in the extras.
Okay, I gotta look at that
Before
stuff.
the episode started, it said, "Please tune in to the Peacemaker podcast." What were you doing?
Oh, I was tuning into the show and then waiting for the,
In the very
title
beginning,
card.
it would say, "Please tune into after the episode. Watch Peacemaker podcast."
I was more excited about the episodes. I guess.
So,
I don't know.
so in the very first episode, they have James Gunn, and James Gunn talks about the opening credits. 'Cause and that's where he says, "I wanted something that was unskippable." Like,
Yeah.
he goes through
Yeah.
an entire thing about
Because
it.
there's so many names. But here's the thing, that's a double-edged sword. Because yeah, his whole thing was, I want to make an intro that you don't skip so we can pay proper respects to the people that worked on the
Yes.
show.
Yeah.
But most of the time I'm looking at the title card going like, why are they dancing this way? What is this dance routine? I want to learn this dance routine now. And it was too distracting for its own good. It did its job too well.
There's somebody with a person that choreographed it. I think it's Alan Tudyk's wife.
What?
I think it is.
Why are the Tudyks like just
I think
fantastic
it's
people?
I think it's Alan Tudyk's wife. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's
Who
it
played
is.
Alan Tudyk was also Weasel in the Suicide Squad, right?
Yes, he was.
My God, man, that man is
No, he wasn't Weasel. That
Who
wasn't
was
Alan
he?
Tudyk. That was James Gunn's brother.
Oh, Sean Gunn.
That was Sean Gunn.
So
Sean
who
Gunn
did-
played two things. He played Calendar Man and Weasel.
So who? Because I feel like Alan Tudyk was also in the Suicide Squad, wasn't he?
No, that was Rooker.
Oh,
Rooker
okay.
is in it.
Gotcha.
Look up just who did the opening dance routine. Like who
Ooh, that is a
choreographed it.
loud motorcycle outside. Jesus Christ.
Someone will find out.
So the last point I wanted to make, because we're probably reaching the end of this episode anyways, and that way we can just jump on and
Carissa Barton.
Look her up.
Let's see.
you got to do this.
Just copy and paste it.
Oh.
Just
The man behind.
scan over.
Why are you telling him to do his job?
No, because he was opening up another tab and he was gonna type in.
Because he wanted to keep that page open.
I understand that.
You
Go
can
to-
also just highlight the name and then right click and then say search Google.
Yeah, I know.
I don't have.
Well, why didn't you say-
I don't have my own computer, so. I don't-
Yeah, Nicholas. Jesus.
Sorry.
yeah, it's his wife.
Do it.
What
I do
the
it.
heck?
Yes,
dude?
I do it. Because in the podcast he specifically says, and then I called my friend Alan Tudyk, and his wife came down to do it.
Dude, I want to meet Alan
I remember.
Tudyk, man.
I remember.
How does
Yeah.
that man why does that man how does that man live life, dude? Just having the simplest roles in like movies and TV, and then
I think he has a new show too.
yeah, he does. It's called Invasion or something like that.
He also is really funny. In,
No, he's a resident alien.
Resident Alien. That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
I also
sci-fi.
love him in The Rookie because he was just recently.
Oh, yeah.
he was in The Rookie like second season.
Dude, you gotta watch
That was
the Rookie.
dude,
So
that was
good.
hilarious.
Is
'cause
that
it-
Nathan Fillion's?
Yeah.
Nathan Fillion.
It's really good.
So it was Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk in an entire episode,
Mm-hmm.
and it's Nathan Fillion is a cop that's watching a crime scene, and Alan Tudyk is a crime scene cleanup, but they both can't do their jobs because they haven't cleared the scene yet. So they're both just standing there. It's just an awkward situation.
Yeah.
Where like he's like talking about like, yeah, the worst stain I've ever picked up is brain matter. It's definitely the worst.
It has like
Baking
certain,
soda.
and he uses certain things for certain stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, oh, he goes, how do you get out brain matter? And he's like, oh, baking soda and time. Like, it's so funny.
Yeah.
It's
Well-
so good. You gotta watch it.
The last point I wanted to make, besides this intro, and what's the time check?
An hour and 25.
Cool. Then we'll wrap it up with this last point. So Rotten Tomatoes actually posted a photo where they looked at all the DC, properties that have come out over the last years.
Oh, yeah.
And Peacemaker is the highly rated one. But the funny thing is that James Gunn's properties have been the highest rated out of everything.
Oh, really?
Yes.
All the stuff that he's worked on.
All the stuff the two things that he's worked on have been the most highly rated properties for DCE.
I would not be surprised if, after seeing how well Peacemaker was and how well, what was it? You getting ready for something? You good?
I
like,
marked myself.
I marked myself. Are you gonna party after the podcast? Like you're like, oh, podcast is almost over. Let's get her ready. Gotta wake up. I got work in 5 hours. I can't go to sleep yet.
Can you go back to your point?
So anyway, I'm wondering if DC is gonna go to going to James Gunn, and they're gonna have him more as like, not necessarily as a Feige character, but they're going to offer him more of like a, hey, overlook this.
Didn't I mention that point a couple of issues ago, and you guys were saying,
producer.
no, I don't want him to be one.
Well, I think it's more of the fact that it's
because I feel like James Gunn's style doesn't work for everything.
No,
Yeah.
It doesn't. That's why I'm saying
it works for Suicide Squad. It works for Peacemaker. It works for the lesser known.
Give him the
DC
D-list
world.
characters.
But that's what I'm saying. Because I feel like if James Gunn were to get a script, okay, let's say that James Gunn were to get the script for BVS, and then he was allowed to do a pass at it. I feel like that movie would be like 90% better.
Well, I mean, we got a little vibe of that at the end of this episode where when Peacemaker succeeds in his mission, they're walking out and we see the Justice League shows up. Now,
oh my God.
Now, see, we get a little taste of what could have been that. And it was great to hear Jason Momoa say the word F. But again, you have the Justice League and it doesn't feel right.
Can you go back for a second and confirm what James Gunn did to the Snyderverse in that 1 second? What did he do, Rene?
He basically proved that Aquaman's fish.
What'd you the consider? What's the timestamp?
An hour and 27.
Thank you.
Fine, that Aquaman sodomizes fish.
And the funny thing is, when he said that, it was like, oh, well, it was just a rumor, right? It's just a joke.
Yeah.
And Barry Allen was like,
no, I love the fact that throughout the entire thing, Peacemaker has been just making up rumors about other superheroes or villains.
My favorite one is Green Arrow.
Oh,
which was the Green Arrow?
Green Arrow says he dresses up as he goes to a brony convention as the second half of Twilight Sparkle.
Yeah. I feel like there's a callback there from one of the people that played Green Arrow, but I have no idea what it is. But I think that it's so funny just to kind of go like, oh yeah, that's hilarious. Like I love when he explains how he caught Kite Man, where he's just like, it was my 2 arms, my trusty bazooka, and we caught Kite Man. And I was like, did he shoot Kite Man out of the sky? Is that what he did?
And I love how he talks
is
about
Kite Man dead?
Oh yeah, what does he tell you?
Well, he goes, we were both at a party and she was giving me the F me eyes and stuff like
that's
that.
right.
And I do love that where they're all going like literally everything that Peacemaker has said, a lie. But I have heard that about Aquaman.
Yeah.
Like that is the one thing
I've heard. That's
a one thing that I've heard.
But technically, isn't true if he like bangs someone from Atlantis. Technically, aren't they?
I think that's what they're implying,
right?
That like he's having, like he sleeps with Mira. Technically, he's sleeping with a fish because she lives underwater. Because
she's an Atlantean.
So technically speaking,
they're not wrong, but also they're not right.
Yeah.
So it's one of those. It's a double-edged sword.
So that's why I think you said it is like you're the one that Barry is the one.
That was my contribution is that Barry Allen is the one that started this rumor, and I think that would be hilarious if like you find out that Barry Allen is starting rumors about the Justice League just for fun. Because
I can see that as a conversation.
How hilarious would that be if he is the fastest man in the world and Barry Allen is whispering in people's ears? And they don't know he's there.
No, but I see that as like a conversation between Flash and Aquaman of just like Barry just going, so you and Mira, is she human? Well, she's Atlantean, so I guess she is. So, but you guys are
is there
together
down
right?
there, right?
I'm not gonna lie, dude. At the end of this Aquaman movie that's coming up, I'm really hoping it loses a hand. Like I really want him to lose a hand.
Well, that's
like.
That's to be determined if most people are going to see this movie because of a certain co-star that's in it.
Well, let's see what happens. Yeah, she still is. They're not
getting rid of her. They
I
said
thought they did.
Nope.
I thought they were.
And then I heard another rumor is that Jason Momoa and her are dating.
Oh,
I thought he was dating somebody else.
No.
He had a wife.
They're divorced now.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks. Anyway.
So it's funny because with this going into a second season, it kind of brings to mind that the Flash movie.
No, because the documentary for Aquaman just it settles weird now because he has like a good 15 minutes of just talking about how special his wife is.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That's why I'm that's why when you said that they're divorced now, I'm
they're divorced.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, we
I'm
gotta
look.
We'll look that up, see if it's true.
I was like,
but anyways,
that's rough.
So the Flash movie, there's a lot of rumors that it was supposed to dissolve the Snyderverse and start something new. But with the continuation of this one,
you're right. They're gonna dissolve the fact that Aquaman just has sex with fish.
I mean, that could be it. But now with the season 2, they can't dissolve this universe because this is the Snyderverse universe.
But the thing is that
we'll see that after Flash.
Yeah.
But you have to remember as well. It's interesting because remember, the New 52 didn't necessarily wipe the universe. It just took specific things and then made them canon and made other things canon. Mm-hmm. So you can still have Peacemaker without changing anything because this is reality and we haven't really seen too many other characters out of the DCEU. So, I mean, what are we really changing?
Yeah.
The most that we can really change is Superman looks different, so does Batman. Both of them are a little bit younger or they're just different actors or whatever. And that can be an easy well, that's because of the universe. The universe melted and now they're different people.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So I mean, those are just easy fixes that you can always have. You can always have oh yeah, the mother boxes aren't a thing anymore. We're not having a war with Apocalypse or whatever. You can change a lot of things just by saying, oh yeah, we split up the universes. Did all this.
It's interesting. Any last thoughts on Peacemaker?
I'm just glad that we're getting a season 2.
I do like the idea because my biggest gripe with Eternals is that I didn't know where the Avengers were, and I loved the fact in this where I was at the very end when they all show up because I saw the Flash come out and I was like, oh my god. James Gunn is finally answering the question of where the hell are the heroes?
They're just late.
They're just late. They're just late. Technically, if the heroes would have gotten it done, the world would have ended, and nothing would have changed.
The other funny aspect was
they showed up. Jobs.
They showed up, but didn't clean up the crime scene.
No,
they just left all the bodies there because at the end of it, when they're doing that whole song to wrap up everything, Judo Masters at the scene of the where the butterflies
they just left,
and they just left.
Yeah, they saw it was done, and I was like,
all right, peace out, guys.
I guess they didn't even call the cops.
Yeah.
Dude, they didn't even call the cops. I think they just went and they were just like, you know what, Barry, we really got to talk about this rumor you keep spreading. Even Peacemaker knows about that rumor, dude. You got to stop. I'm gonna start spreading rumors about you.
Yeah,
it's a good show and it is an impactful one
You're
for
a
the
Minuteman?
DCU. So I'm hoping that second season, I hope we get another title card that's as good as this one because a lot of the main cast that was in that title card ended up dying.
Yeah.
So they can't do it. The dad died. The 2 cops died. The only one that survived is the neighbor. Judo Master's technically there. Vigilante's there. The main character is the wife.
And the most important character, the janitor. He's alive.
Yeah.
Oh, he's alive too?
I feel like the janitor will probably they'll write in the janitor again.
Somehow, because that's Peacemaker's other best friend.
Yeah.
Because he went to go to his daughter's thing.
That's true.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's true.
I loved the helmet bits where it's just okay, so then what we'll do is that you will activate levitation helmet and then just start floating.
Activate levitation.
Guys.
Did you say activate levitation?
No.
Well, I didn't know it was that sensitive.
Oh my god. Oh, the other thing is the Economist literally was about to jump into action and then jumps over the fence and breaks his leg. I was just like, what?
Yeah.
Honestly,
are you freaking kidding me?
I will say my last point, the fight scene between Hardcore, Peacemaker, and Vigilante versus the Butterflies, it was very reminiscent of the Kingsman fight scene in the church, but on a lower budget.
No. I loved how Peacemaker used the shield. And you see the shield cut people.
Yeah.
And then decapitate someone and then shoots it and it just goes right.
Dude,
into someone's neck.
I loved it because I thought about it and I was like, oh my god, that's like a better way of using Captain America's shield.
Yeah.
Like, no, because
There's a more efficient way.
dude, I love seeing
The
him,
shield defies physics, but here in Peacemaker shield, much better. It's real.
I just thought it was so funny of like him like following the shield with his gun, then shooting the tip of it to then shoot it into somebody's face.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's so cool.
It's
That's
so great.
It was a great show.
Yeah.
Great
So
season finale.
it was a great show. If you guys have not seen Peacemaker, it's definitely a show to watch.
My question is that before we end, did you think Peacemaker was going to pick the butterflies?
No, I would have been mad if he did, because it would have been kind of like it would have it would have dissolved all of his kind of like build up towards that moment. And I was also along the line of like, because the butterflies were kind of making a good point, but it's also I'm like at this I side with the it's not your choice to make.
I do like how they're gonna bleed over is he's not over his dad's death.
No, and it's gonna be stuck in his mind.
Yeah.
So that's
I
interesting.
love so that character is still in season 2.
Yeah.
That's true.
So that's another person that can be in the dance number.
Got the two cops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The two cops. We'll find 2 other cops. That's the best thing
There's
about
gonna be more
TV
characters.
cops.
Yeah, there's gonna
They're
be more characters
replaceable.
introduced.
All right, guys. Before we wrap up this issue of Keeping Up with the Nerds, just a reminder: you guys can find us on YouTube at Keeping Up with the Nerds. You guys can see that video portion of the podcast and all our bits and reactions to certain pieces of news. But if you're listening to us on audio platforms, be it whatever platform you're listening to, you guys can also find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Podbean. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts and let us know what you guys think. Also, check out our website, keepingupwiththenerds.com. Always up to date, always letting you guys know what are the latest videos, podcasts, and articles, because we are updating that Nerdy Planet section to include everything now. Articles on a weekly basis, hopefully. That's the goal, if I find the time, and hopefully I do. So a James Gunn article should be coming up. Also, Our Real Addiction have finally finished their bios and are under Who Are the Nerds.
Yes.
So they're there now. So you guys can learn more about them and their little synopsis. So they are officially on the website. Good to go.
Cool.
Awesome. Anything else before we move on?
That's it.
Subscribe to YouTube. Follow us on all our socials, Instagram and Twitter. Follow us on audio platforms. KeepingUpWithTheNerds.com.
In the comments, let me know what rumor we should start about Bryan.
Oh, God. Okay. Well, with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Are we ready?
Yes.
All right. This has been Keeping Up with the Nerds, issue number 86. My name is Bryan.
And Nick,
Rene.
Recording at Undercity Comics in Whittier, California. We want to thank everyone for listening to this issue. Hope to see you all next time. Perfect. Did that register on there?
Yeah, I did. You can find it.
Cool. All right.
you'll find it.
Tell me when it's the 1 minute. Tell me when it's the 1 minute mark.
Okay, we got 30 seconds.
Cool.
It's the 1 minute mark. Hi, Rene.
Hi, Clapper.
Thank you for bringing me on the podcast.
You're welcome. Your existence will be here for the time being.
What do you mean?
Well, don't worry about it. Got 15 seconds.
Rene.
What? Until I find a better Clapper, that's why.